Nintendo back in the mid to late 1980s were making waves with their entertainment system. The 8-bit machine led the resurgence of video games back into popular culture, and it seemed as though it was going to be the system to own for a long time, which it was, until new 16-bit systems from other companies like Sega and NEC came in and showed off what kind of games you could play on their consoles that you couldn't play on Nintendo. Little did they know the Big N was just about to unveil a brand new 16-bit system of their own that upgraded their consumers from playing with power to superpower. It's the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Abbreviated SNES and maybe referred to as SNES or Super NES, I like to call it the Super Nintendo, and that's what you'll hear me call it for the rest of this video. Released August 23rd, 1991, the Super Nintendo is an updated entertainment system with more bits than its predecessor, realistically an NES times 2. Comparing them side by side, the difference is evident as they've gone from looking like a tape player to whatever the heck this is. I would have said the NES 2, which I would show you, but I can't because I don't have it yet, so here's an image instead. Hopefully you see the similarities. The design of the console itself is perhaps the most questionable part of the system, not solely because of the look, but of the choice of color. Here in the States we got a purple-gray mix, while the rest of the world got debatably a better looking system with more of a color palette, although mostly gray, but it still had colors. And on top of what we got, in later years some gray parts of the system would turn into a yellow piss color because from what I found out, the plastic doesn't take too kindly to oxygen for some reason. Luckily mine only yellowed on the bottom here. It's like it was used as a towel to soak up piss in a bathroom and it absorbed this far up. Even though I'm criticizing the weird design choices Nintendo made with this system, that doesn't mean it's not a great system, far from it. The Super Nintendo is a great system. Here's one of the reasons now: the controller. As you can see, it's a step up from the previous. While maybe not aesthetically pleasing, it adds more buttons among doing good design choices to set a standard for what's to be expected of controllers, even today. Setting this aside for a future AC review, for now just watch me plug this in the controller port with ease. And they say wireless is so much better. On closer inspection of the Super Nintendo, it's a very simplistic layout of things, as we have of course the power switch to turn the system on and off, the reset switch, and an eject button that will pop your Super Nintendo carts out of the cartridge slot like so. We're gonna stick with the cartridge slot real quick because a noteworthy thing to point out is not only can you play American Super Nintendo games, but Super Famicom games. That's foreign Super Nintendo games to you and me. I know that sounds absurd, but it's true. The only thing that stops you from doing so are these plastic tabs on the back, so if you remove those babies with some pliers and patience, then you're in business. Region lockout at its finest. Note this method won't work on PAL Super Nintendos as there is a difference in their lockout chips, but the NSTC Super Nintendos and Super Famicoms are the same, so knock yourselves out if you want to play a game in Japanese text that you can't read. When it comes to software on the system, it's like talking about hitting a gold mine both in the sense of their gameplay and the dough you may be dishing out of your pocket. But regardless of that, the Super Nintendo's library of games is perhaps the most decorated and classic of all time, as you've got Nintendo's mascots at their best with Super Mario World and Super Metroid, and new franchises making their debut on the system with Super Mario Kart and F-Zero. Plus, it was home to some of the best adventure games and RPGs around, like Super Mario RPG and The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. And even later on in the console's life, with new systems coming out with now 32-bit capabilities, Nintendo shrugged it off and gave us games on par or better than 32-bit systems of the day, with Donkey Kong Country and Star Fox with its Super FX chip and all. I'm not even done there, for the Big N had the bright idea for allowing you to play your Game Boy games on the big screen by using the Super Game Boy. With all these classics and more, how could you not recognize Nintendo as the winner of the console wars? The games themselves hold up extremely well today, way better than, let's say, Sonic in a Sega Saturn game. They all play smoothly and satisfyingly, whether you're racing in a Mute City in Mode 7, or flying through space in your R-Wing, or running through alien planets, or recovering the 7 stars of legend. The possibilities see no end. The Super Nintendo is by far one of the best consoles out there that you can find, and you should get it in a heartbeat if you see one, because when you have one of the best selection of games to go off of, along with the ability to play with superpower, what could possibly go wrong? Apart from having people asking why you have a piss-stained gray-purple doohickey on your shelf, it's the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Now, when you were done playing Game Boy games on the Super Nintendo, you'll likely stick the cartridge back into the Game Boy and take it with you for later use. But it was a bit of a hassle to carry this brick around, for it could barely fit in your pocket. Nintendo was aware of this and decided to make the Game Boy lose a few pounds. And on the next episode, we're going to take a look at the Game Boy that could fit in the pouch of your pants.
If you think I missed anything, please leave a comment. If you like what you see, leave a like. If you think others could get knowledge out of this, share this video. And if you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe. Now if you'll excuse me, nostalgia is calling.